because it's an election week and because we got so much to cover, I reserve the right to bow out of any of this shit, especially if they're longer clips, because some of them I'm already pre-bored. I'm already tired of it, even though I haven't seen it yet. You know what I mean? Because we know what the fuck's going to happen. So let's, I'd like to show you, ladies and gentlemen, the shrinky-dink version of Jesse Waters, Ben, Where'd My Beard Go, Shapiro. You remember he was trying on masculinity for like 3 days. It was very exciting. He almost went to Home Depot and bought 2 boards in a plastic bag. It was super exciting. I found the title of this one stands out, and I think a lot of you are going to understand why. If he can't ride a bike, he can't run the country.
So yesterday, Joe Biden stumbled out to the microphones to take a triumphant victory lap. And listen,
he didn't stumble out. He walked out to the fucking microphone. He walked out. He didn't stumble. There's not video of a stumble. There's not even reference to a stumble. You're just being a dick. It's just ageist bullshit. But please continue.
Listen, you can't blame the guy too much. The fact is that Joe Biden's party overperformed in this election in a way that no president has overperformed in a midterm election since George W. Bush in 2002. And that was literally...
No, actually, we're going back further than that, to Kennedy.
Literally on the heels of 9/11. This was, by historical standards...
the Democrats kicked ass.
A win for Joe Biden, and he's going to treat it that way. So Joe Biden goes out there.
He's not treating it that way. He's describing it as such.
And he says, it was a good day for democracy.
We had an election yesterday. And it was a good day, I think, for democracy.
You'll notice that was a very clear statement. It was a good day for democracy. He didn't fumble the word democracy like Shapiro pretended he did, because Ben Shapiro is a piece of shit.
And I think it was a good day for America.
So Joe Biden, he finishes there by starting to cough, and then he says he has a little horse like Lil Sebastian on Parks and Recreation, which...
Yeah, that's right. We all got the reference.
Apparently he rides around the White House garden in his off hours. It's funny how...
have you ever thought of writing for Greg Gutfeld?
The democracy is at stake stuff went immediately to democracy is alive, well, thriving, everything's amazing. Almost...
Yeah, because the voters turned up.
It's as though it was an election ploy, this whole democracy.
No, as if it was a motivating factor that worked.
Was at stake stuff. But the real message that Joe Biden was there to give yesterday is that he is not changing course, not one iota, not one bit. This is validation of everything that he has ever done or ever will do.
Yeah. By the way, this would be the straw Superman, I suppose, method of argument, where you just blow someone's argument about their current strategy up to, like, I am perfect and all-knowing. Basically, what Ben Shapiro is trying to do is take any rhetoric from a Democrat and pretend like they speak like Donald Trump. While, by the way, cradling Trump's balls in, I guess, a free hand.
And there's a president who basically lucked into his position by virtue of COVID.
Oh, he did? Oh, he did? He lucked into it? Okay. Why? Because the other people he fought against didn't have a shot because they got COVID? No, that wasn't it. Because Trump's such a fuck up that the country was reeling from the fact that he shit the bed on COVID. He was running against someone who was wholly incompetent. So, and COVID pointed that out. Is that no?
An incompetent campaign by his opponent, and the fact that he was able to lock him.
An incompetent campaign. All he did was show what he'd actually done and then exaggerate what he had.
Himself in a basement for 6 months.
We were all in basements for 6 months, dick fuck.
And who has proceeded to run the country directly into the ground.
No. No. Have you seen the stock market today? Have you seen the inflation numbers? Have you seen job growth? Have you seen the unemployment factors? Have you seen the infrastructure bill? Like, we're literally... There is nothing that in the infrastructure bill that couldn't have happened 3 years ago? Nothing. Not a fucking thing, except it had to get passed.
And here he is basically saying that he gets that voters are still frustrated, but... So he's...
What was that noise?
And here he is basically saying that he gets that voters are still frustrated, but... So he's asked about...
What? Oh, is he going backwards through puberty? I think he was shocked by that noise coming out of his face.
And here he is basically saying that he gets that voters are still frustrated, but... So he's asked about this. Here's...
Jesus Christ. And you thought his normal speaking voice was like nails on a chalkboard. Holy shit. Professional broadcaster, ladies and gentlemen, with a nice built-out studio that he goes to every day and reads off his laptop like a nerd who won't shut up in study hall.
That's what he had to say.
And another thing that we know is that voters spoke clearly about their concerns, about raising costs, the rising costs that they're in, and the need to get inflation down. There's still a lot of people hurting. They're very concerned. And it's about crime and public safety. And they sent a clear and unmistakable message that they want to preserve our democracy and protect the right to choose in this country.
Okay, so he said...
All right. Break it down.
Says that he understands the frustrations, but in reality, what just happened...
Excuse me, it's pronounced but...
is that we are restoring the soul of the country. And this is the world-beating, I am an FDR, LBJ, Barack Obama figure from a doddering old man. The soul of...
He doesn't do you think he realizes how lame it is that he picks on Biden's age and his stutter, obviously, and yet his party and the people he supports are constantly getting dunked on by this doddering old man? It's kind of amazing to me. It's like shit talking your opponents in a sporting event after they shoot nothing but 3-pointers and dunks. And like, yeah, whatever, stretch.
The country is being restored because John Fetterman is in the Senate or something.
No, because Democrats will have control of the Senate, and therefore they can appoint judges. You're a fool. This is fun.
I said we're going to restore the soul of the country. Begin to treat each other with decency, honor, and integrity. And it's starting to happen. People are, the conversations are becoming more normal.
By the way, this is absolutely true. For the first time after this, and in a little bit like they didn't want to jump into it right away, but leading up to this, everybody was, you're starting to see people on Fox News going, it's time to move past Trump. And we got some clips that show that, which is so fun. And watching, more and more people on more Trump-leaning networks and right-wing networks and more Republicans openly voicing that it's time to move on from Trump and people want people who can work together and that kind of shit, which, by the way, totally hamstrings the DeSantis methodology going into 2024 because that's going to look like a relic comparatively.
Becoming more, how can I say it, decent.
Everyone's becoming more decent now. Why? It's the sun is shining, gang. 4 days ago.
No, not everyone. You're not. But it's your job. It's like my job is to be a wise ass, and your job is to be kind of a sniping prick. Don't worry. You won't lose your job. It's a niche. It's going to stick around. It's just that there was a big recognition in the voting, and you can tell this by the parity between the parties, the narrowing of it anyways, that there is an abject rejection currently going on in the electorate against the extremes, against the polarizing, against the energy of Trump. And again, the votes for DeSantis and Kemp both benefited from fuck Trump votes from Republicans more than anything else.
The end of the Republic was at hand. You understand that we didn't just, apparently, according to Joe Biden, we didn't just avoid catastrophe. The sun is now shining. The
sun is shining, actually. It does that every day, most time. Sometimes it's overcast, but you can get just as bad a sunburn if you stay out long enough.
The world is a bright place. We went from a world that was shot through a dingy red lens to a world shot through a yellow lens with beautiful.
I'll have you know that people were talking about the potential for things to go really south, especially with as many election deniers as were running, and that was a concern, and that concern was answered by the voter. On the other hand, Donald Trump, before and now after this election, is shit-talking the United States as being in decline and a third world country. The titular head of the Republican Party is shit-talking the United States on Veterans Day. But Biden, because he's like, look, this is a consequential election. And then the electorate showed up and he went, good. We didn't, we may not have trounced it one way, but they didn't trounce us. And, there's a conversation to be had. We can reach across the aisle. Maybe civility has come back. That's the sun shining part. By the way, the sun shining is not, yeah, we won, we got our way, we can steamroll everything. That's the interesting thing. Because what Biden is saying is not, the sun is only shining when we are in full charge of everything. He's saying democracy has a shot because people are making their choices, and increasingly the choices were people who can talk back and forth. That, the sun that we're talking about is fucking normalcy, decency, genuine argument, but not vilification and hammer attacks, which is the fucking direction everybody thought this was heading a couple of weeks ago, except me, but you know what I mean.
Beautiful sunlight streaming into your warm, cozy kitchen, and Joe Biden sitting there
in a dark, dingy studio with the word Ben Shapiro behind him, where the floor is barely visible and you'll trip and stub your teeny little toesy toes.
Sniffing your hair. Everything is great, guys. Amazing how fast things switched. It's just...
I'd rather have someone sniff my hair, especially if they're not really sniffing my hair. They're leaning forward to go, hey, you're going to be just fine. And you take a still shot of in between where they're not actually speaking and go, hair sniffer. I'd rather have that than a prick who grabs women by the pussy. And brags about it. This made-up hair sniffing bullshit that they go on all the fucking time is gross. It's pervy and projection on their part. And secondarily, it's meant to equalize and eliminate the criticisms of Trump as a serial sexual assaulter who fucking admits it.
Just wow. Can you feel your soul beginning to grow? Can you feel?
All right. This is going to be a whingy, sarcasm fest. And basically, you lost. You lost, Ben. You pretended to be on the fence about Trump and you're not, and your group lost. So and anybody happy about this is going to be very upset. Now, there is wrong or something like that.